Welcome back. One of the best things about baseball is you can watch it live and in person in lots of cities around the country. Chattanooga, Tennessee is one of those cities. I am Grayson Knight, and this is Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. The Chattanooga Lookouts have been a part of the community there for over 100 years and have played at AT&T Field since 2000. And since that time, today's guest has been an integral part of the Lookouts' existence and success. Rich Mozingo is the Lookouts general manager and the AA Reds affiliate, which currently plays home from April through September in downtown Chattanooga. He agreed to come on the show and just talk to me about what his life looks like and how the general manager works. Well, no stalling. Rich Mozingo, how are you?
I'm awesome, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being here.
Hey, what number is this podcast? How many of these podcasts have you done?
Well, this is season 4, and
Awesome.
I know it's probably like maybe 50, maybe.
That's fantastic, man. Too cool. Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So thank you for coming on the show today. So is it true you grew up wrestling?
I did. I wrestled all the way through high school. I wrestled into college. I wrestled really poorly in college, but I did wrestle in college.
Mm.
But I've always had a love for baseball. So when I had the opportunity to get out of college and go get a job, baseball seemed like a wonderful opportunity for me, and it truly has been for me and my family. We've seen so many different parts of the country and just had a wonderful time doing what we do.
So what was your original job as baseball, or did you just go straight to general manager?
No, no, no. I was an intern for the Charlotte Rangers in Port Charlotte, Florida. It was spring training for the Texas Rangers, and it was the Charlotte Rangers had a single A baseball season there. So my first year in baseball was Nolan Ryan's last year in baseball. So
Oh,
I got to see
nice.
his last year in spring training.
That's awesome.
That was
Um,
amazing.
mhm. So my dad is friends with one of your college teammates.
He is. I
Yeah,
know
I'm
that. I
I'm
know
pretty
that.
I'm pretty sure. He
Now,
told he told you that?
the friend we're talking about was just an extraordinary college wrestler. Brian Kurlander, just an
Yep.
amazing college wrestler.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think wrestling helped prepare you for your career in baseball?
Well, I think wrestling prepares you for a lot of things. There's it's such a mentally tough sport, and it's a physically tough sport. But the mental aspect of it, I think, Grayson, more than anything else, I think you have to be prepared any given day to be ready to perform at your highest level. I think you know what it's like to compete, whether you're competing for sponsors or ticket, fans coming in the ballpark or whatever it may be. Um, I really do think athletics is a great platform for people to turn into the business world, because I think there are different levels of competitors at that point, and
Mhm.
sometimes a lot of times I find they work harder.
Mhm. So pretty much every guest that comes on the show, I ask this. But where did you grow up, and did you play baseball?
So I was born in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My dad was in the military at that time, and he actually went off to Vietnam. So we moved to Kinston, North Carolina. But I spent most of my time growing up outside the Washington, D.C. area. And the
Okay.
answer to your question is I did play baseball. I played baseball. We moved around in the military a lot. So my freshman year in high school, I was in Colorado Springs, and I played there. I was the captain of the baseball team, and then I came back to the Washington D.C. area and got cut my sophomore year from my high school baseball team. My graduating class was about 700 people in high school, so we had players that just played baseball. They played it year round. I was coming off a football season, off a wrestling season, and into baseball season, and I just wasn't prepared to do what, I just didn't have enough time to practice and that kind of stuff. And those guys were really, really good baseball players. I was probably a mediocre baseball player, and I was definitely a mediocre baseball player when curveballs actually started curving. I was good when a curveball didn't curve that much, and I could put my bat on it. When they curved, I was kind of done.
Hmm. So in 1993, you started your career with the Lookouts and became the general manager in 1999,
Mm-hmm.
helping them open your current ballpark, AT&T Field, in 2000, but you left for several years before returning in 2011. What did you learn about running baseball teams while you were elsewhere that made you better at your job today?
Well, I went from Chattanooga to Columbia, South Carolina. From Columbia, South Carolina, I took that team and relocated it to Greenville, South Carolina. And then I spent the next 5 years in Lakewood, New Jersey. And that's really where I think I learned probably the most I learned about baseball operations, about my side of baseball was in Lakewood, New Jersey. We went from a staff in Greenville of 7 people to a staff of 42 people. And it's just a different business. It was a matter of going out and really, one of the things that I learned early on in Lakewood was, man, you've got to invite people to come out to see your baseball games. It's not just a matter anymore of opening the gates and hoping people come through. So we really focused on making phone calls to businesses and individuals and selling ticket packages and really trying to drive our business forward. And I learned so much of that in Lakewood, New Jersey. The amount of calls, the amount of effort that we spent trying to sell tickets for a Tuesday night game was just way more than I'd ever seen anywhere else. So I saw the success we had up there and was able to come back to Chattanooga and kind of reinvent what we were doing here and really look at different ways to bring people into the ballpark and different reasons to bring people in the ballpark. So it was hugely helpful for me.
So I'm pretty sure lots of people have heard of the general manager title in baseball, but can you tell us what you actually do and what your day-to-day activities look like?
My job is to run the business. I have nothing to do at all with what happens on the baseball field. The Cincinnati Reds send us 28 players. They send us coaches, trainers, strength conditioners, all that kind of stuff. So my job is to run the baseball stadium or to run the baseball operations. So or the business operations, not the baseball operations, but the business operations. So we really have 4 different ways that we make money. We make money by sponsorships, ticket sales, concession sales, and gift shop sales. So I try to manage those 4 different departments for us, as well as making sure that the stadium is up to Major League Baseball standards and that we're doing the things that we need to do to host baseball games at our ballpark. But the vast majority of my business, Grayson, is making sure that business-wise, we are ready to run a business every baseball season.
So you have a lot of responsibilities as GM. Totally unrelated, but do you have a say in who could throw out the first pitch? Just
I can pick
wondering.
that. Yeah, I can pick that every day.
Oh,
I
really?
try not to, but I do. I can do that.
Because I might have some availability next season.
Hey, seriously, I tell people all the time, Grayson, when they come out, because we stand in like a little area before you go out to the field. And when they're getting ready to throw a first pitch, I have an on-field host who does an amazing job talking to people. But what I like to tell people all the time is whatever you do on your first pitch, just don't bounce it. If you throw it into the net, if you throw it over his head, if you throw it right or left, that's fine. But if you bounce it, they will boo you from the stands. So if you're ready to come down and you think you got 60 feet 6 inches in you, I got a spot for you.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
There you go. You play a little baseball, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
No, all right, let's what position do you play?
I play center field, but I do pitch, and I have pitched a little bit from 60 feet 6 inches, but that was just at like a 14U practice. So
Well, that's a long way to go. The jump off between 12 to 13 or 13 to 14, and when you start going 90-foot bases and 60 feet 6 inches on the mound, that's a long way to go.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories of all time, when we opened this ballpark here in Chattanooga, we opened at AT&T Field. It was actually Bell South Park at the time. We opened it up. Former President Bush and his wife Barbara were here. They threw out the first pitches on the very first game we had here. And President Bush had played baseball at Yale, and he was a very talented baseball player. So he gets up on the mound and he throws a strike from the top of the mound. It was fantastic. And now it's Barbara, his wife's turn. She gets up, she looks at the catcher, and she says this, "You come here." She made the catcher go halfway out to the pitcher's mound. She tossed him the ball, and the crowd went nuts. It was absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Wow. So there's a question I have about trades, and it kind of relates to the big leagues too.
Okay.
So when there is a trade, let's make like an example. Let's say Shohei Ohtani is getting traded to the Reds.
Uh-huh.
for Joey Votto and a player that plays on your AA team.
Hmm.
Nick Kroll, who's the Reds GM, does he have to speak with you about it too?
Not for even a second. Nope. I will get players that'll come in the middle of the night and show up. My clubhouse guy will get a call and say, "Listen, I need to drop my bags off," or vice versa, Grayson. And we'll get calls. He'll get calls in the middle of the night saying, "Hey, I need to get into the facility so I can get my stuff out so I can go to Louisville or whatever it may be." So as far as players go, I'm never consulted on it, which is the way it should be. And very rarely do I even hear about it before it happens. I have been in some occasions. One of my favorites of all time, we were here in the early, I guess it was 2001, 2002, maybe 2001, and we had an outfielder named Austin Kearns who was just an absolute stud. He was a first round pick for the Reds. It was about the fourth or fifth inning that night, and the lookouts had just finished hitting, and everyone went into the field. And we're about three or four pitches into warmup, and all of a sudden I see my manager run into right field. And that just, I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. And he goes out there, he gets about halfway to Austin Kearns and he waves him in, and Austin Kearns goes in and gets in the dugout, and we have no idea what's happened. Well, what happened is he had gotten called up to the major leagues, and they just didn't want to take any chance at all of him hurting himself during those 3 outs. So they took him out of the game right that minute. He left the bench that night, went to Cincinnati, and played the next day in the big leagues.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun
That's
to see stuff like
incredible.
that.
So in Moneyball, Billy Beane says he doesn't like to have close relationships with the players because he might have to cut them. So what's your relationship like with the players?
Well, I've got a couple guys on my staff who are kind of our liaison with the players. They're down in the clubhouse. They're making sure they have what they need and those kind of stuff. So those guys actually have a pretty close relationship with some of those guys down here. As far as me, I like to be, I guess, like if you have a party at your house, Grace, and you just have your friends over, you're kind of the guy that just kind of walks around and makes sure everything is going the right direction, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of me. I let those guys handle the small details, and I just kind of try to be the nice, friendly face. You know, if they need something in Chattanooga, if they need a car or their car's broken down, they need a mechanic, or they need a place to stay, or they've got family coming to town. A lot of times they'll reach out to me, but for the most part, there's guys on my staff that have most of the relationships with our guys in the dugouts and in the clubhouses.
It's kind of related to Moneyball, but do you like Moneyball and does it look a lot like how you operate?
I think Moneyball's fantastic. I think it's an amazing movie. I think they did a really great job of portraying what actually happened there. And it's very interesting, Grace. While I don't have a whole lot to do with player moves, I don't have nothing to do with player moves. I talk to my friends from the Reds all the time. The farm director I'm in contact with weekly, and to have those conversations, and to see what they're looking at. More and more each and every year that we go on, what Billy Beane did, I guess, a decade, 2 decades ago, is becoming more and more true for every organization. The amount of people they have in data analytics on the baseball side right now is staggering at the major league level, and they're breaking down everything. I talked to Billy Dorn, who's a special assistant with the Reds a couple of years ago, and he said, it's very interesting, Rich. It's not, you can come up and you can hit a bunch of home runs or hit the ball hard. What they're looking at now is launch angle and arm release angle and that kind of stuff. So I think, in my opinion, they're seeing way less and less of what a baseball player might be, and they're seeing more and more the analytics. And they're just kind of caught on that, and they think that's what's gonna make them better. So it's interesting to see, and it is continuing every single day. More and more analytics are coming into the game. I kind of feel a little bit right now, Grayson, like the pendulum swinging a little bit more backwards towards where we were, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years ago, but we still have a ton of analytics, and I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. So I've been to a few minor league ballparks. Last season I went to see the Biscuits in Montgomery, and I
Mm-hmm.
usually go to a couple Gwinnett Stripers games every season. Each stadium has little differences. What are some cool things about AT&T Field that makes it pretty unique?
Well, we are right in the middle of downtown. We are square in the middle of downtown. My office actually overlooks the Tennessee Aquarium. Our ballpark overlooks the Tennessee River. We're perched on top of a hill right in the middle of our town, which is kind of cool. But some things that are very difficult about our stadium is there's no parking here. We have parking decks around us, but we don't control any of our parking. And it's a very, very small footprint that the stadium's on right this minute. We are in the process right now of developing a new stadium in Chattanooga. And, like Montgomery, the one you brought up, where the old train station is kind of on that first base side where they've just kind of taken that over. We're moving into a foundry site, an old foundry site, and we will use a lot of those foundry buildings as structural elements inside our ballpark. So while right now we have a pretty basic, right field, center field, left field, lower concourse area. Over there, we'll have a lot of covered areas that are covered by old foundry buildings, and we'll have some old architecture on the site. So some of the things that you've seen in different ballparks will really be incorporated into our new ballpark, hopefully in different ways that are new and exciting to you guys. But we're super excited to have the opportunity to take some of these old buildings, these old blighted buildings in a city that have been empty for 25 years, and kind of revitalize that part of the city.
So I was hearing that you guys are getting a brand new stadium in a few years. So is there a thought that that stadium will have parking?
Oh, it will. It absolutely will. We're gonna start with big parking lots around it. But Grayson, these days, one of the things that cities are doing, our city wants to help us out and help us build this ballpark in order to spur development around the ballpark. What we're really trying to do is take an area that's been empty and blighted for the last 25 plus years and really revitalize that. So we'll have stores, retail stores on the site. We'll have housing on the site. We'll have office space on the site. Hopefully doctors' offices, gyms, that kind of stuff. So we will start by having large parking lots for baseball. But as this thing continues to build and more businesses come in, those parking lots will get eaten up. But what will happen at that point, Grayson, is they'll have parking structures that are multi-level parking structures that we'll still control and be able to house our people and bring our people in and park them where we need to park them. So it will be much more convenient as we go forward.
So will the stadium have the same name?
No, it will not. It
Do
will
you know
not.
do you know what the name will be?
I don't. I don't. It should be Grayson Knight Stadium is what it should be. And for just a little small donation from you, we could probably make that happen.
That's awesome.
No, it's all the fields that you know of. I mean, Truist Park in Atlanta and AT&T Park in San Francisco, and all those things. They all have major sponsors that want their names on side of these stadiums. So hopefully, what we're going to find is someone out there who wants to put their name on our new stadium and work as a partner for us for the next 10, 15, 20 years to build baseball in and around Chattanooga would be a great partner for us.
That's awesome. So currently, what is your favorite thing to eat at AT&T Field?
And we're in the South, and barbecue is a big deal here in the South, and there's actually some fish dishes that are a really good deal. But my favorite thing we'd have, Grayson, is we have a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, hot off the grill in our concourse that is so
Nice.
good it's crazy. But one of my favorite, my quirky favoriteest thing we have, we serve bacon on a stick. So we take a piece of
Oh,
bacon and fry it, and then we drizzle a little sauce on top of it, and it is dynamite.
that's really weird, but
Wow, weird. Well, minor league baseball, you know enough about this stuff.
hmm
For us, it's not really about the baseball. It's about everything else that's going on around it. Because what we've talked about during this whole conversation, we have no control on what happens on our field. We don't know if we're going to have a winning team or a losing team. And the fact is, I tell people all the time, if we have a really good team in the first half, we're probably going to have a much worse team in the second half because our guys are going to get promoted up to AAA and promoted up to the big league. So we really, really work on quirky, fun things to do to get people to come to the ballpark, whether it's a bobblehead giveaway or Princess Night or fireworks on Friday night or a used car giveaway or whatever it may be. We're always trying to find different ways to get people to come to the ballpark. In the big leagues, I will pay money to go see Ronald Acuna play baseball. He's worth it to me. But the fact is, next year, I have no idea who's going to be on the Chattanooga Lookouts and if they're going to be worth paying money to come out and see. So my job is to make sure that people are going to have fun when they come out here to do this.
hmm That's That's incredible. So do you guys have like a signature item or mascot that you guys like promote?
Well, we've got Louis the Lookout, who's our mascot. It's been our mascot for the last 25 years or
I
so.
I was actually watching a video and I don't even I saw Louis. What is Louis? Like what is the mascot?
Louis is just kind of our mascot. He's kind of a big red-headed thing that kind of just lives here at the ballpark and enjoys and hugs kids and has a good time. I don't know that I don't know that Louis is a something that I could tell you.
He's not like an animal or anything.
No, nope,
That's
nope.
so weird.
Yeah, yep.
Uh, I know that your team is part of the local community, and we were just talking about this. But do you do like fun promotions like Star Wars night?
So we do a Star Wars night. We're going to do a princess and princes night this year. We're going to do a superhero night again this year. Marvel Defenders of the Diamond night at the ballpark where we'll wear superhero jerseys again. So we're always trying to do those kind of things. We're looking at the possibility of having some maybe skewed younger acts at the ballpark, like a Paw Patrol or a Bluey or something like that. And once again, Grace, we're just trying to hit all the different age groups, different people that want to come out and see a ballpark. I want to have something for you to come see when you come out to the ballpark. So we're going to try to spread it out throughout the year and have just fun things happening all the time.
That's awesome. My mom loves the Pride nights at any ballpark. Me and my sister always love Star Wars and Marvel nights. It's so incredible.
Well, we did a night this past year, and we'll do it again this year. We had a deaf awareness night, and we had jerseys, lookouts jerseys, and instead of saying lookouts across the front, we had the American Sign Language hand signals for the L, the O, the K, the rest of the lookouts name. We also did an inning where we signed all the players as they were coming to the plate. We used American Sign Language, put it up on the video board, and introduced them that way at the ballpark.
That's
So
awesome.
it is fun. It's all sorts of fun, and once again, you can incorporate more people and more of your community into what you're doing here at the ballpark.
Okay, Mr. Mozingo. At the end of my interviews, I do these not so rapid fire questions. You can answer with as much or as little info as you want.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, what's your favorite Lookouts memory?
It might have been opening day 2 years ago when Hunter Green threw 39 pitches, 100 miles an hour or more, which is the
That's
most that was ever
awesome.
been done in any professional baseball game.
Better sequel, Godfather 2 or Empire Strikes Back?
Godfather 2. Yeah, it's not, I mean, come on. Yeah, that's just it.
Best ballpark in the minor leagues besides AT&T Field.
Gosh, probably Parkview Field in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's amazing. It's a great ballpark.
That's awesome. So you have two sons. Do they or did they play baseball?
My little one, one of my favorite stories, my little one played T-ball, played 9 games that year, got every practice, every game, went to every single one, no issues at all. Grayson, he got through with the last game. He walks off the field. He hands me his bat. He hands me his glove. He says, Daddy, we're not doing baseball anymore. So
Oh,
both my kids, my oldest one played till he was 11 years old. My youngest one played through T-ball, but they both went on and played. The one still plays, and the other one played college lacrosse. So they're both athletes and played at the next level, which they've thoroughly enjoyed.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
So why is baseball the best sport?
I think baseball is the best sport in my opinion, Grace, because you and I can come out here and enjoy ourselves for 2.5 and 3 hours, and we can talk to each other, and we can really bond on just being outside and being part of the ballpark. It's not the frenzy that a football game is, and there's more breaks in it, more opportunities to visit, and more fun stuff going on at the game. I love all sports, and I love going to see all sports. But when there's different sports you're expected different things of. Baseball is the most relaxed, and it's the easiest way. I think it's the easiest way to spend time with family and friends if you really want to spend time with family and friends.
Everyone gets this one. What's your favorite baseball movie besides Moneyball? Because you already said that was good.
Gosh, it's probably oh man, Bull Durham. Bull Durham is absolutely. I've been to the
That's
old ballpark in Durham and grew up in that part of the world a little bit. And, Bull Durham is absolutely my favorite.
last one. What is your favorite baseball memory as a player or fan?
Oh gosh. My dad took me to an Orioles game when I was probably 10 years old. And it was one of those things where literally we lived in the DC area. So Baltimore's about an hour and 15 minutes away, hour and a half away. And he looks at me, he got through cutting the grass that morning. He said, "You want to go to an Orioles game?" I said, "Yeah, let's go." So we drove up to Baltimore. We parked. He goes to the ticket office and he says at the ticket office, "Hey, I want your two best seats you have today." And this is when all tickets were hard tickets and they literally took them out of a rack from right behind the guy, and he said, "I just got these two in." And he hands my dad the two tickets. He pays for them. And we go in and we go to the first usher and he says, "Your seats are down there." We go to the second usher. He's like, "Your seats are further down there." Grayson, we ended up literally directly behind home plate. The Baltimore Orioles are playing the Chicago White Sox. Our seats were literally on the net in the front row, and Tom Seaver was pitching for the White Sox that day.
That's
That's probably
awesome.
my coolest experience as a fan for sure.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
it was awesome. It was awesome.
Wow. Mr. Mozingo, we did it. Do you have anything else to add or any questions?
Man, I'm excited about what you're doing. I'm excited about, I mean, like, how did this thing get started for you? You've done 50 podcasts now. That's crazy.
Something like
How did
that.
it get started for you?
So I started it as a sixth grade Genius Hour project, and I just wanted to do a baseball podcast because I love baseball, and
Uh-huh.
I heard about the podcast thing, and it was really cool. And I did that, and I got top project in my class, and I got 100 for the grade,
Uh-huh.
and it was just an incredible journey. I did my first season that was 9 episodes, and I've been kept doing this for a while.
That's awesome. Now you do you go, is it right that you go to a STEM school now?
Yes. Well, yeah. I go
All
to a
right,
STEM school.
I'm gonna ask you kind of a two-sided question then, and then if we need to be done, we can be done. Does a STEM school, does the curriculum that you're having help you in baseball and or podcasting?
It doesn't help me with baseball at all because we have no sports in my
Okay.
school. But podcasting, yes, it does help because I can just go online and then look up podcasts because I could just do basically whatever I want related to like the assignment, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So it does help me a little bit in communications and just regular school, I guess.
All right. When does your baseball season start? Your next baseball season start?
Like maybe practices probably start in February
Okay.
and maybe March around spring training.
Awesome. Very good.
Mhm.
Hey man,
Um,
if you get the opportunity, I'd love to host you and your family up here if y'all want to come up and see a baseball game.
Thank you.
You'd
My
be my
dad
guest.
is
I'd love to
saying
have you.
yes. Did you have fun?
I had a blast, man. This is so much fun. You
That's
did a great
awesome.
job.
Rich Mozingo, general manager of the Chattanooga Lookouts. Thank you so much for coming on. If you love baseball and are in the Chattanooga area next season, please visit lookouts.com for game and ticket information. And you can help my show by subscribing to Baseball Podcasts Are Fun on YouTube and Spotify, and my new website at baseballpodcasterfun.com, and following at Baseball Podcaster Fun on Instagram. Please check back next week for an all-new guest. Until then, that was Rich Mazingo. I am Grayson Knight, and this was Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Don't forget to swing for the fences. See ya!